A doorbell cam video at 3 a.m. has caught some scary moments on tape that people need to see. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. A ghostly white apparition forms before the camera half a minute before 3 a.m. It looks pretty good at first, but then it kind of looks less real the longer you look at it. If I saw this phantom-like figure outside of my house at 3 a.m. like the uploader says they did, I would be absolutely terrified. Who knows what is watching in the darkness? This YouTuber may have captured a spirit stalking him in this graveyard. Watch to the right of the tree. Watched at a slower speed, you can definitely see a figure peeking out at the driver. It's unclear what the figure is. It's even unclear if it's human or post-human. But this one looks legit to me, and if I were this YouTuber, I'd get out of that graveyard ASAP. Who knows what is watching him, or why? Does your workplace have a paranormal whirlpool? Mine neither, but YouTuber Matusis does, and she's captured the crazy anomaly on video. Take a look.
¿Qué será? Parece que alguien atrás me tira.
Sí, sí.
La verdad que no visual.
You have a city within a great Hawaii. That and got taken.
This is a hospital in San Miguel de Tucumán, but what is causing this? At first, I thought perhaps it was a fan or vacuum blowing from above, but when it began to create this strange shape in the foam, I wasn't so sure, but YouTubers in the comments have some theories.
It's in the app.
¿Qué será, no? Parece una mano que hace así.
Pide ayuda.
Others refute Diego's assessment.
Yo pensé que era una lámpara.
Yo también.
Pensé que era como... Viste, está mejor que cuida a mi sobrina.
I agree that it's not sodium or entities, so what is it? A vortex into another world? I think only someone brave enough to dive in could find out. This one is especially haunting. Published to YouTube by TVR Exploring in December of 2019. The uploader explains that Ingolchek was a mining town that was abandoned twice, once by the dissolved Soviet Union, and then again by a foreign company that tried its hand to little success. But it wasn't the environment that surprised TVR Exploring, it was the encounter he had underground that he can't get out of his head. After TVR films the remote mountainside and the surrounding buildings, he heads into the mine, where he's looking at some rusted old gear left on a workbench. You start to hear howling from deep within the tunnel. There's water dripping, which drowns out the sound somewhat, but you can hear distinctly the otherworldly scream as TVR describes it. Although he's a self-proclaimed skeptic and doesn't necessarily consider the sound to be supernatural, TVR says all the hair stood up on the back of his neck. After reflecting, he still doesn't know its source, and he asks his audience for their thoughts. Some say it's obviously a ghost or demon, others the wind, and still others consider it may be hydraulic. Although there's no definitive answer, everyone seems to agree that this man is extremely brave. A synagogue in Ukraine captured something absolutely creepy and mysterious. A brilliant ball of light floating ominously near the synagogue wall. The authentic video shows the ball of light floating down to hover, swaying back and forth slightly in one place. It stays there for a moment, glowing its mystery, until it flies upward again, disappearing forevermore. The ball of light isn't a perfectly circular orb. In fact, it looks almost gelatinous, as its shape changes slightly in its hovering, with protuberances bulging slightly here and there. So what is this light? What could it be? Scientists are baffled and can't seem to find any explanation for it, leaving explanations up to popular opinion. These opinions range from a lightning ball to a reflection of infrared light to someone's very soul. Jewish people were ordered to gather here before they were sent off to camps in WW2, so the possibility of it being someone's soul looks promising. I wouldn't be surprised if souls abounded here. The truth is, we'll likely never know what was the source of this light, and we probably weren't meant to know. You often capture more than you bargained for on social media streams. Posted in July of 2019, this video shows a man wandering around an apparently abandoned apartment in the darkness. He seems to be praying, as he shoots video of some window-type compartment up in the right-hand corner of one of the rooms. You can see some stranger peeking through. The man continues to pray, and then suddenly screams in fear as he turns to capture something moving more aggressively in a huge box to his right as he races to get out of there. The door slams behind him. Even outside, he is not safe. He continues to pray while filming the exterior of the home. One of the window shutters up above opens and closes several times. Seems like this home needs more than prayer, it needs an exorcism. In this house, you'll expect a jump scare around every corner. After experiencing paranormal events in his family home, this man decided to take some video to see if he could capture anything on camera. Let's take the haunted tour. What is happening here? He finds a flower on the stairs. He claims no one in the household knows where it came from. Is this knock a warning, as the YouTuber believes? Well, upstairs in the bedroom, it happens again. Something just threw the clothes from the wardrobe. If those knocks were a warning, I'd take the clothes as a clear message. This ghost wants you to leave. A feisty octopus is heading out to sea when it sees it's been caught on camera and has had enough. The creature comes forward and even throws a swing. Getting chased underwater by this deep-sea creature is creepy, but the backstory is what makes this video even creepier. Moments before this was caught on camera, Bohema TV says he was swimming in the ocean when he felt something wrap around his thigh. Only when he came back to shore did he realize this was a living creature attached to him and not seaweed like he had originally thought. Here you can see it try to blend in with the rocks for a bit before giving up and swimming away. Apparently they have really sharp teeth and strong jaws, so luckily Bohema TV got away safely before getting chomped. A YouTuber named Sand General captures the moving shadow of a mysterious creature on tape in the Phoenix desert late at night. He and his friend are cautiously driving down a dark and spooky country road when their dog starts making low whining noises that they've never heard before. Sand General stops the car and aims his phone camera. This bizarre encounter with an unknown creature is what he catches on video.
Let's get out of here.
A roaming shadow that stands out from the scenery is caught mysteriously moving from left to right. It looks like the rather large outline of some kind of desert monster waiting to ambush them, and so they turn around and get out of there fast, which is the right plan in my opinion. I would suggest that this large shadow figure is video editing, except listen to the dog. It's genuinely terrified and trying to tell them that they should be scared too.
Let's
Let's get out of here.
A home security camera caught this scary sight in Corvina. Posted by Ruby Gonzalez in December of 2018, Ruby writes, "Two individuals tried to enter a home. One knocked on the door and called out the resident's first name several times. The family was home at the time. You can see one of the men approach with his hood up and a kerchief covering his mouth, wearing a backpack. He knocks on the door, waiting with his head down, likely aware of where the security camera is located. A second dude also approaches, dressed in the same fashion. He's carrying a crowbar. They knock a second and third time, alerting a small dog inside. When a car passes, they both turn to look down the street and ensure there are no witnesses. He knocks several more times, saying, 'Come on, bro.' But the second dude eventually taps him on the arm, indicating it's time to give up and leave, which thankfully they do. Whatever they came for, they left empty-handed." A YouTuber named Stromedy continues to catch bizarre encounters on his drone. This time he drives out 3 hours to a random field to see what's out there. He and his friend Ashton are expecting to find bears, but instead they chance upon a man walking all by himself, who immediately breaks into a run through the snow upon being spotted. They follow him for over a minute while he tries to hide. Then, in an unexpected twist, he blasts the drone out of the sky.
I can even hear it. How far away is that?
Yo, I
Dude,
think he hit it.
Yo, he just hit the drone,
bro.
Dude, what the?
It's
Yo!
black. It just went black.
Guys, the screen just went black.
The muzzle fire looks like it could be special effects, but let me know what you think. Stromedy believes that this man was trespassing and took out their drone to avoid getting followed and reported to police. If this is real, then they most likely will not be able to catch him because his face is fully covered and they never find his car or his hideout. A YouTuber named Run Gun Griff is a drone enthusiast who explores a lot of exotic locations on his channel. Most of his videos are taken on tropical islands, but this one was shot at a hard-to-find rural spot that he simply describes as being in the middle of nowhere. As his drone flies high, you can see that Run Gun Griff and his friend are standing in the middle of a huge field of crops that's covered in a series of strange markings. The symbols themselves are perfectly symmetrical and extremely precise in their geometry. Their designs look strikingly identical and appear to have no noticeable differences, a sign that it was not made by humans. I suppose that it would be possible to do this with farm equipment, but farmers have little reason to vandalize their own field, and since there's absolutely no flaws in the design, I think that there is a strong possibility that this was made by something extraterrestrial. Let me know if you think that these crop circles are man-made or extraterrestrial in nature, and if you recognize any of these symbols from any literature, movie, or video games, then I'd definitely like to know where they are from. There's nothing more uncanny than wax figures. YouTube team Paranormal Voyages investigates the famous Madame Tussauds in Las Vegas, and what they find may not be wax at all. While touring the place at night, this unsettling EVP is heard. To me that sounds mechanical, but then this happens.
Did you stop the video recorder?
Perhaps some of these wax figures are coming to life and they do not wish to be filmed. In the darkness, they somehow appear even creepier. They keep interfering with the team's devices, this time sending a clear message. You don't have to tell me twice. I'm out of there. A ghost investigation video from Oregon, while admittedly grainy and out of focus, nonetheless captures two possibly paranormal instances that are worth analyzing. The first is a brief materialization of a shirt or tunic against the wall. From this floating clothing item, a phantom person emerges. Barely noticeable are the head, nose, and 2 eyes. Then again, this could be wavy details caused by motion blur. But motion blur does not explain the glowing white eyes that briefly flicker at 11 seconds into the video and quickly go away. I don't care how poor the camera quality is. Whatever this is, in my opinion, it should not be there, and yet it is. Jan Flink heads to a crumbling cluster of haunted cabins in his home country of Finland. His flashlight cuts out 6 times as soon as he reaches the back of the first cabin. He is still holding it though, so maybe he is doing it himself. Up in the attic, he finds this strange setup, a single bowl on a makeshift sleeping area made of thin wood. Only one shoe is never a good sign. He goes outside and his flashlight starts messing up some more, but look behind him right before it does.
Should I just say bye? Or see you again in next video. Bye.
A woman in red with long black hair is looking at him. It wouldn't be too hard to fake this, and the fact that nothing happens for 44 minutes until the very end of this video makes me suspicious, but Jan Flink claims that this is the spirit of a woman who had a bad encounter with a bear in 1964 and passed away. It's been years since the video was posted, and as far as I've been able to research, he never said it was fake. Want to see a magic trick right before your very own eyes? TikToker Vincent L.A. Jordan has one for you. Watch for the guy in the red shirt. Everyone's wondering where he came from. He seems to materialize out of thin air as the ladies walk forward. Watch again closely. My theory is that he's Doctor Strange, or he teleported there. Is there any more logical explanation? Next time you're wandering through a forest, look out for the trees. They might just be hiding duppies. Posted to YouTube by Javahan Ferguson in January of 2020. This video purports to show proof of a duppy caught in a tree. What's a duppy? Meaning ghost or spirit. The concept originated in Central Africa. Caribbean folklore in particular grasped onto the supernatural nature of the duppy. Many residents in fact claim to have seen them. The malevolent spirits appear most often at night and are meant to haunt the living. In the video, the so-called duppy woman appears to somehow be perched atop a tree. She is waving to someone or something beyond. If not something supernatural, how is this woman managing to stand or float atop a tree like this? And if she is a duppy, what imaginable malice does she intend to induce? This entry is a double dose. The first video comes to us from YouTuber Black Cat in November of 2021. The cameraman is filming from outside a bedroom. At first everything is still and silent. Then the wardrobe doors swing open and close. Plastic bags and other objects are all tossed out of it. They aren't tumbling out. They're literally being ejected. When the cameraman enters to investigate the wardrobe, you can see there is shelving that would prevent anyone of a normal size from hiding in there, out of view, and throwing the stuff out. As the camera pans over the wardrobe, noise is heard from behind the cameraman, who jerks around to find a bunch of papers being dispelled from I'm not sure where. While this poltergeist mystery goes unsolved, let's turn to the next one. Published by Nikki McMillan in November of 2021, this security footage was captured at Nikki's workplace. Fine porcelain and glassware is encased in glass in the shop. Nobody is around. Then a solid frame decides to skydive from a shelf in the hallway. There's nothing behind the frame, and nothing on the shelf that would have caused it to spring overboard. A closer view of the shelf makes this all the more mysterious. Like the activity in the other video, the frame does not look like it just tumbled from the shelf. It appears as though it's being actively ejected. What witchcraft is at play here? Are these just random tumblings? Or are these entities actively poltergeisting? South Korean ghost hunter Yang Ma-hee is exploring an old abandoned haunted house for evidence of the paranormal. What he's caught on tape is up for debate, so let's get right to it. Tell me if you hear a footstep after he finishes his sentence.
누구 계세요? 누구 계세요?
All of the rooms look completely ripped apart, and yet nothing has been taken. Drawers and shelves are overturned, but clothing and personal items remain largely untouched. It looks like the work of poltergeist activity to me, not thieves. A particularly angry poltergeist at that. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this EVP of a man's voice that completely overlaps his own when he touches the old owner's shoe.
이거 화장실이다.
That does not sound like a house settling or anything like that. It's definitely vocal cords. The ghostly voice of someone who is with us in spirit alone. Final analysis? Yeah, this video is about as paranormal as it gets. After renting a Verbo for the weekend, YouTube team FV Family winds up in this creepy cabin in the woods, and that's when things get real. They find a hole in the wall that may be there for nefarious purposes.
That's like perfect for a spy camera.
What do you think? What is this all about? And does it tie in with the possible secret entrance that they find in this cryptic room?
Entranceway. Oh, heck no.
I'm not sure, but things aren't adding up here, and this is looking like the B&B I don't want to stay at. This video looks like it was intentionally set up to capture something that has been appearing in a closet lately. At first, you can't really see anything, but after a while, the shadows begin to form into a human-like figure. The shadowy shape peeks out from behind the door, and at one point even appears to have two bright white eyes. The grainy quality of this video is a strong indication that it was edited. But then again, this may be a very old cell phone video, or perhaps a very early internet video that needed to be heavily compressed before uploading. Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes it's best that certain things remain invisible to the human eye. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex. This video was taken at the haunted Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco. Originally posted on YouTube in March of 2020, Tex writes, I have been listening to creepy stories and been watching YouTube videos about ghost investigations and experiences since they existed, which resulted in me paying more attention to my surroundings, heightening my awareness. The Queen Anne Hotel has some history. Located on Sutter Street in San Francisco, initially built as a girls' boarding school, the Queen Anne Hotel is said to be haunted by the former headmistress, Mary Lake. Her office at room 410 is believed to be the most haunted room in the building. The uploader of the video booked this room to stay in overnight. In preparation for the stay, she bought a FLIR thermal cam for her iPhone. She duly notes that the hotel is charming as heck, and she didn't feel anything particularly unsettling while there. That is, until she thermal cammed room 410. She tested out her thermal cam on her husband, on electrical sockets, water lines, and other hot and cold spots. Then she entered the bathroom. Pointing her thermal cam towards the half-closed shower curtain, she started to see a figure in the thermal footage next to her that she believed appeared from behind the curtain. As you can see, there is her own thermal image in its reflection, and not too far away right beside it, another full-sized figure. Could it be Headmistress Mary Lake herself? When going through pictures she took of the room, the uploader also discovered this creepy face in the wallpaper. Do you see it? It's almost like the room is watching you. You think winter roads are bad, and you've probably never ridden your bike here. This incident occurred in India in 2018. The uploader explains that it was his third day of riding from Indore to Pangong Lake, and he had just partnered with another rider who joined him on his solo trip. He writes that the pass was slippery that day and was loaded with trucks. The result is a close call his friend met with, which he caught on camera. The footage shows the pair of bikers on a narrow mountain road with nothing but a cliff edge and 100+ foot fall to their right. In front of them is a truck transporting heavy metal poles. As they follow quite closely behind this truck, it looks as though his friend is going to attempt to overtake the vehicle on the cliffside with little to no shoulder, but that attempt comes to a quick end when his heavy bike with all his belongings piled onto the back loses traction on the slushy ground. It falls onto its side dangerously near the cliff edge. If he'd been even a foot nearer the edge, he would have been a goner. As fate would have it, his life was spared that day, and as Banda writes, hopefully this teaches other riders to ride safe, live long. What do you make of the creature in this creepy video? Published in June of 2017, a car is driving through a desert when it slows to a stop. Some animals appear in the area near a fence. From far off, they look like they could be anything. Cows, dogs, the video is unclear, but as the camera zooms in and the car backs up and then turns around to get an unobstructed view, we see that at least one of the creatures looks like something from a horror movie. It almost looks like a humanoid doing a bear crawl, but I can't imagine a human being able to pull that off for as long as this creature does. The way it moves is not characteristic of any animal. It's unnatural. The creature continues on, trotting alongside the other animals. Is this human, humanoid, animal, or some other unknown? It definitely is something I've never seen before. Imagine what it might be like to sail on the open sea. Nothing but water all around you. Now imagine that same water at night. Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit. This clip was originally posted on TikTok by Oily White Hat, who works on an oil rig. The short clip shows the black inky darkness that surrounds the rig at night. It's pitch black all around. You can't see past the handrails. Redditor Timbo Flex writes in the comments, "Yeah, I've been on a ship in the middle of the Pacific at night with only red lights. The stars and the colors above you are amazing, and below you is just a noisy void of inky blackness. It's like you're floating in space near the event horizon of a black hole looking away. Would you be able to stand it out here on the edge of the event horizon? As amazing as it sounds, I think I'm gonna stay on land." This retro arcade room is ruined by faulty wiring, or else a real ghost. To demonstrate, the owner picks up the remote to his ceiling fan and turns the light off.
Nope, there it is. Wow.
The lights somehow turn on by themselves despite not touching the remote at all. At 4 seconds, we can see the nearest light switches all the way across the room from the distinctive shark skateboard that he's now standing by. So he couldn't have hit that himself, and no one else is with him. Then, not only does the fan turn on by itself, but it also kind of goes the wrong way for a little bit first, which I don't think is normal. In a different video, the light looks much brighter than before, yet returns to normal brightness when turned off and back on. This time he turns the light out and leaves the remote on the wall. He steps out towards the middle of the room, and the light comes back on before he even gets a chance to properly set up his camera. Based on what I've seen here, I think these videos are real, because nothing stood out as blatantly fake. If this house is haunted, let's just hope it's not a malevolent spirit. After all, you wouldn't want to give up an arcade setup that nice. This creepy selfie photobomb is making my skin crawl. Posted on TikTok by WINIRGTA, this woman is taking a selfie in the mirror when something freaky enters the picture. A small toddler-sized figure toddles past behind the woman, but does not reappear on the other side of her. The figure moves fast and looks to be a slightly grayish tinge. Is this just the woman's younger sibling making an unexpected cameo? Or does she have a supernatural elf on her hands? Sometimes evil energy sticks around a place long after bad things have happened there. This is one of those cases. YouTuber Brittany Crab posted this video in June of 2014 writing, exploring a scary haunted bridge that is haunted by a boy named Douglas riding a bike and a creepy man. So scary. Brittany says in the video that she's in the woods near her house looking for an old bridge near which a young boy had his life taken. According to Brittany, the boy was riding his bike and the man was standing near the bridge and offered him candy, but when the boy approached, the man took his life and shoved him in the pond beneath the bridge. People who visit this bridge feel a bad energy there, and they believe it's haunted by the boy Douglas. According to legend, you can hear the bicycle bell as he crosses the bridge. When she finally arrives at the bridge, she stands in the middle, feeling the creepy vibes everyone talks about, and as she's standing there, disturbed, the bicycle bell sounds. Fleeing the scene,
I think I just heard the bike.
she claims she just saw the man, and somehow she gets lost. She returns to the bridge, but the bicycle bell rings again, causing her to drop her camera. Someone picks up the camera in the end, but who? And apparently this bridge and the story really do exist. Several in the comments mention knowing hearing the story. One YouTuber, Golden M, writes, I heard about that bridge and my cousin lives close by it in the woods, and she went to explore it and she said she heard the bike, and she also saw the man and kid. Would you dare visit this bridge? I certainly wouldn't. There are some things that make you so nervous you can never unsee them. They remain on the backs of your eyelids when you go to sleep at night. This entry will make you stay out of the forest. Redditor Film Direction wrote, "Aw man, Chills is gonna be all over this in his next video." And he's right, I am. Posted by Rabbit14k, this video of a so-called forest guard was captured in India. The clip shows a vehicle driving at night down a dirt road surrounded by forest. It must be drizzling, as the windshield wipers are moving. Then up ahead in the middle of the road is a figure in white flowing robes. The figure's head is covered, and when we never see its face, as the vehicle backs up, the figure walks slowly and strangely off the path and into the trees. As the vehicle continues to reverse, it disappears, swallowed by the darkness. According to Redditor Vixen Ross, this might be a holy man or woman, as the Sri Sararda Devi wears similar robes to these worn by our forest guard. Others note that it's a bit on the dark side for a midnight stroll, even for a holy man. Did this video make the hair on your legs stand up? Did it give you chills? Did it make your nose start running? And what do you think? Is this human or a demon? This place just might be haunted by something nefarious. Published by Humboldt Pet Supply in October of 2018, the store's security camera footage reveals a series of creepy incidents that cannot be explained. The first involves a package falling off a shelf on its own. The shop attendant continues to shelve items and then heads over to put the package back. A moment later, after she walks away, the package falls from the shelf again. This time it also moves across the floor a bit on its own. Another clip shows a cat named Diego pacing the shop. An incongruent shadow cat appears in the light from the doorway. There don't appear to be any other cats in the store but the real and the shadow one. In a third clip, another package falls from its place and moves strangely across the floor. It drifts slowly until it catches Diego, the cat's attention. As the cat approaches it tentatively, the package moves, causing Diego to jump. The cat paws it for a second before he decides he wants nothing to do with this. The package continues across the floor on its own. Is this perhaps the shadow cat playing around with the real one? Seems pretty catty to me. This YouTuber didn't notice what he'd captured on camera until he played it back later, and when he saw it, he was scared. Published by Sphinx2720 in March of 2010, the scary video was taken at Gettysburg. The investigator is standing amongst some boulders at the beginning of the clip. He says the cluster of rocks is called Devil's Den. As he walks around the den, He appears to capture the devil himself. What looks like a large cloaked shadow figure is looming right in front of the den. Another oddity occurs at the beginning of the video and was noted by Akeo Ateo in the comments. As the investigator is getting his bearings with his camera, a dark figure in the distance beyond the nearby rock is spotted lurking past. What is going on here at Gettysburg? Do these figures have anything to do with the area's history? A ghost voice drifting from deep inside a tunnel is something that nightmares are made of. That's what Amy Dancing Again posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit under the title, Ghost Voice at WW2 Oil Storage Tunnels in Darwin, NT, Australia. Although the acoustics of this tunnel have been called haunting, our research uncovered no further reported paranormal activities in the tunnels, although they seem like the perfect setting for them. The tunnels were built to protect oil. Japan went after the city of Darwin no less than 64 times during this time frame, ending in 1945, with only 6 of the 11 tunnels completed. The tunnels were then opened to the public in 1992, which is how this Redditor came to explore them. They were the only people in the tunnel, as they arrived early. Another Redditor wrote in the thread that the way the camera moves when you hear the voice makes the video seem legit. What is this voice saying? I just can't seem to make it out. Something strange happens every night in the room of a YouTuber named Sumi, and it happens at 3 a.m. The door looks fully shut with the latch in place, so that means somehow the door opens without the knob turning, and then continues to open with nobody on the other side. It's a lightweight door, but even if the house was built on a slope or something, I don't think it would open that easily. Plus, if this really does happen at 3 a.m., like Sumi claims, then there's just no question in my mind that A, their whole house is haunted, and B, it's time to install a lock. Here's a vintage ghost video taken back when most people did not know how to edit anything at all. A ghost hunter travels to an abandoned house in Virginia on a road in the woods with no streetlights and no neighbors. A CCTV system is set up, which looks old-fashioned by today's standards but was state-of-the-art back in 2002, and at 8:13 at night, this pale ghost in the window is caught on camera. The ghost in the window is not the investigator. He's standing behind the camera adjusting it at the time. According to him, this window is 7 feet off the ground with no way for anyone to get up there in the first place. I was thinking it was a passing car, but he says the street was quiet as always, so maybe it was an apparition after all. Vintage footage recovered from Michigan shows creepy things in the woods, scary stuff that you and I were never meant to see. Things get weird when the family dog begins guarding them and tracking smells. Something out here has had the animal on high alert for the whole time. Whatever it is has apparently gotten close to camp the night before. On their final day, they decide to let the dog roam as far as it wants. It tracks a scent deep into the forest where they've caught a scary unknown creature sighting on camera that I'm not sure they survived. The animal looks like a bear, but runs like something completely different. We only get a glimpse of it before the cameraman runs, but in those scary moments, some say that this is a sighting of the Michigan Dog Man, a legendary humanoid creature lurking in the woods. Dogman or not, it has a pretty good head start on them. This does not look like a warning charge, therefore I would not be surprised if this creepy vintage video was found in the woods many years later. Catholics honor the departed on November 2nd with All Souls Day, praying for the souls of their departed family and friends, often with visits to the graveyard. But what happens when the soul hasn't crossed over? Published by Own Vlogs, these paranormal investigators visited a haunted graveyard in order to answer that question. As the crew wanders around the cemetery's open graves, they suddenly see this vague pale figure in the distance. After glancing over several times at the figure, the men get too scared by its stillness and start running off.
कुछ चीज है तो वो हावी होने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं पर ये क्या खड़े हो जाओ निकलो यहाँ से स्पीड से थोड़ा सा ये क्या है
Gathering some courage, they turn and look back. The figure is still there. They run off again and straight out of the cemetery. Was this a soul that hadn't yet crossed over? Or just a graveyard statue? In any event, this is one scary video that went horribly wrong.
रास्ते में खड़ी है जो भी है रास्ते में यार अरे भाई इधर से निकल भाई इधर
A YouTube channel called Jaeger Expective is partying at a rental home. They soon suspect is haunted after running some experiments. According to them, these motion-activated lights don't turn on unless someone is in the room, yet the lights come on here when the room is empty.
Isn't that censored?
I think the lights might turn on whenever the door opens though, because when you watch it again, that's pretty much exactly what happens. So they could be wrong about the lights, but next they hear a faint sound from far away. It sounds like one of those really old-fashioned phones that used to have an actual bell on top.
Everybody has their phones, right?
Everyone decides to talk about it again in the morning, and they go to bed, or at least they try. Strange sounds continue throughout the night, stuff that's hard to catch on camera, like a single footstep and nothing else. In the morning, they all still have a bad feeling and feel what they describe as a chilly vibe permeating every room. Jaeger does a quick recording of every room in the house and picks up this figure, which I think could just be his reflection in a mirror, or maybe not. This clip was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit and was originally uploaded to YouTube by Hunting the Unknown. As the team investigates the haunted insane asylum, they hear something.
They can give us a sign.
While they indicate it's a knock, it sounds like a loud grunt to me. Later, as they continue walking, footsteps are heard beside them, or nearby that seem out of place with their own. Next, they hear something off-screen. As they continue on, one viewer claims to see a figure in the window at this point. Look up and to the right.
Take you some more investigation.
While I do see the shadow, I think it's just the wall jutting out, although it does look a bit like a figure. I think the shadow can be explained, but the subtle footsteps and other noises are harder to pinpoint. This place definitely gives me the creeps. Jay Duncan is at home with his wife and daughter. When he looks out his door and sees a total stranger in rough shape, the man is having a fast-paced conversation with no one but himself, and he can't hold still for a single second.
He's just out there, man. He just won't go away.
When he finally notices Jay a full minute later, his first move is to immediately try the door. I can only imagine what this intruder would have done next had he gotten inside. Instead, he throws his hands up in exasperation, as if they have no right to keep their front door locked. He barks a series of threats and demands to be let in. I think he basically says he's through playing games with them, whatever that means. They snicker at him through the door until he gives up and gets into a relatively upscale truck to leave. Obviously, if he has a truck, then he also has a warm place to stay, which makes me wonder why he wanted to get into Jay Duncan's home to begin with. I think that maybe this person might have been out of their minds and thought they were outside of their own home. If so, I really hope they don't come back when Jay Duncan is asleep at night and try the same again. This laboratory is said to be frequented by a spirit who is always near. Here you can see a door pull open by itself with no one standing on the other side. Just in case you were thinking someone could have opened it off camera, here's the same event from another angle, this time taken from the other side. No one is nearby, otherwise they would have cast a shadow on the wall, or else be visible in the reflection of the clean lab floor. Unless this door is controlled by a button we can't see, then there should be no way for it to open by itself. So what do you think? Is this real or just a staged video, cooked up by a bored scientist at work? Do you have the common care to tame a snake? This shocking footage will make you question your own bravery. The video shows a man grabbing a thick snake with his bare hands. The snake looks around 10 feet long and arches toward the man when he pulls back. As the snake appears to be aggressive, the man holds up one arm. He is apparently trying to grab a hold of the snake close to its head, which he manages to do upon his second attempt. He takes the snake with both hands in a tight grip as it opens its mouth wide, baring its fangs. Then, as if with no care in the world, the man walks the snake over to some other workers, who pick up its tail and are taking photos with the beast. The footage ends there, but judging by this man's professionalism, I think we can safely guess the snake was properly removed to a more secure location. This Uber passenger looks like a relatively regular person at first, until he reveals a rather unsettling tendency.
Oh! God.
He reaches to his face and gently presses both eyes out of the socket. The right eye protrudes way more than the left and looks ready to burst and roll down his cheek at any moment. I can't imagine that doing this would be good for your eyes at all, and I hope he doesn't cause long-term health problems. But for now, he has definitely succeeded in creating a video to creep out you and me both. What is this mysterious object in the sky? YouTuber Tiffany Campbell shares this footage of an object she says was falling to Earth.
Is that a plane going down?
I don't think it's a plane.
Well, that's cool.
What is that, James?
I can't even tell you, but I don't know.
Can Joey see it?
Joey, look through my phone.
It's hard to tell what this object is. It doesn't appear to be falling very quickly, but that may just be an optical illusion. The streak trailing behind it suggests it's traveling at significant speed, but this could be a contrail from a plane.
Is that a plane going down?
I don't think it's a plane.
Well, that's cool.
What is that, James?
I can't even tell you, but I don't know.
Can Joey see it?
Is this object even falling at all? It could just appear that way due to the perspective at which it was captured. I think it could just be a plane with a contrail, but it could also be a meteorite or some other unidentified flying object falling from the sky. What do you think? YouTuber Eder Hernandez and his crew are about to enter the Devil's Cave, and what they will witness here may change them forever. The guys seem rattled as they approach the cave, and you'll see they have reason to be.
Oíste, voy adentro. ¿Podemos? Dígame, gente. No mames, soy yo aquí en corto. Si fuera ahí, si fuera adentro, fuera adentro. Oh, chingas a tu madre, güey. A la verga, vete a la verga. Pendejo, cállate, pendejo.
Let's take another look at what they saw.
I know one food.
It looks like a faceless being. As they rush away through the jungle, they catch another creature in their purview.
No mames, bueno, ¿dónde vas? ¿Qué pedo? No mames. No mames, güey. Puta madre, güey. Acá estoy mamada, güey. Vete a la verga. Espérate, tú.
Did you see that? Here it is again, slowly this time. There is definitely a figure standing there, but is it the devil? A third capture seems to blur the lines even more. What are these figures? I'm not sure if they're demons, skinwalkers, or the devil himself, but whatever they are, I know I don't want to get a closer look. back in the 18th century, several dozen witnesses encountered a fabled spectral army on the Souther Fall in the UK. YouTuber Black Craig camps out here on Midsummer's Eve to see if he can become a modern witness. After keeping watch to no avail, he's walking back to camp to get some sleep when this happens.
Oh, what's that? There's a block stood next to my tent there. What the
I'm dying to know what he saw, or who he saw. Was it the ghost army?
Right there. Fins is oblivious to me. There's no way I'm staying here tonight. No way.
I'd be out of there too. What living being wants to battle it out with Spectre warriors? Your odds of winning are next to none.
I'm so startled right now. I think I may have stumbled across...
While alone in the woods, a YouTuber named Christina Roberts sets her sights on two mysterious creatures she has never seen before. They look to be covered in fur and appear to walk upright as they spread out to cover more ground. At 30 seconds, one turns to reveal a broad, hairy back and may even be carrying one of its offspring. The two creatures are caught on Christina's camera, but they don't detect her because she is wearing camouflage and quietly whispering to herself out of view. They sit down in a clearing and she uses the opportunity to sneak away. I personally think creatures look to be about normal size and could just be people in gorilla suits. Hundreds of people have left comments agreeing that this is one of the scariest forest creature videos they've ever seen. So I guess I could be wrong. Tell me what you see. This Ukrainian dashcam captures one of the highest resolution highway ghost encounters I have ever seen. Watch this part and tell me what is being said here if possible. I would really like to have a legitimate translation of this potentially supernatural message. The driver speeds off after she falls back and disappears, and does not stop until they are back to civilization. This professional quality of this video makes me wonder if this is from a European movie or television show. If not, it almost looks like a well-constructed hologram. I could find no other source for this video, so be sure to let me know if this is amateur footage or something from mainstream media. Can you call forth a genie with a few words? YouTuber Barack Dogan Paranormal suggests that's what's happening here. Watch as the chanter brings a flame to life. He then puts it out with a word. Does this man have the power? A closer look makes me think the flame is superimposed onto the tray. So is this just an editorial trick? Or are we looking at real evil magic here? It's up to you to decide. Are you heading out to a seaside restaurant tonight? You might want to reconsider. Published to YouTube by Ed Hatt in March of 2014. They wrote, Jill Freeland, the artist and videographer, was having breakfast this morning at Moby Dick's with her family and got a little more sea salt than was on the menu. The footage shows the restaurant overlooking a stormy gray sea. While the customers await their meal, they helplessly watch as the waves take on a life of their own. They probably think they're safe inside, but boy are they wrong.
Duck. Time to go.
The water crashes against the window and glass shatters as the spectators scream. Someone calmly says, "Time to go," and the customers are told to leave the restaurant, which they do without argument. It appears that no one was hurt in the incident, but they certainly saw firsthand how indifferent Mother Nature is to brunch. You expect to come across witches at night, but in the broad light of day, somehow that's even scarier. Published in July of 2019, this video purports to show a witch spotted in Mexican ruins. A man is shown exploring the ruins. Little does he know, over his left shoulder, at a short distance, glides the shadow of a witch. At first the men are oblivious, but as they turn around and walk back towards the entrance, the figure appears again. This time not lurking in the shadows, but rather in the light of day. The men are aware of its presence this time, and as they start to exclaim, the witch takes flight, up and away, hopefully as far away as humanly possible. The video is certainly blurry, which makes determining what this figure actually is quite difficult. Mustafa Sven is one of the very few brave paranormal exploration channels from Iraq, and he is definitely one of the best. Let's check out a 24-hour challenge he took at a scary haunted abandoned house that he's always been afraid to go exploring. It isn't long until paranormal entities come wailing for him, and all of the creepiness is caught on video with 2 different cameras. It starts with little things that are quite weird, like a shadow moving strangely in the hall behind him. I mean, yeah, I guess it could just be his hand, but the shadow doesn't exactly follow his movements, and I don't know, the angles just don't match up. Then, shortly after the spooky shadow passes by, more weird things are caught on camera. The backpack is actually very well balanced and should not tip over, and it bothers him that it does. He tries to recreate the situation and cannot. Scary noises aside, the backpack is far from the only object caught on camera moving by itself on this haunted night. A stone silently dislodges from the mantelpiece and crashes to the ground, followed by another one. The poltergeist is pulling this house apart brick by brick, willing to do whatever it takes to scare this ghost hunter away. A padlock bounces on its own like a ghost is trying to open the door. Watch closely and tell me if you think this is a poltergeist or someone on the other end of the door poking through the crack with a stick. But just when I was beginning to think this video might not be paranormal, it becomes one of the creepiest videos I've seen in a long time. A rising wail of spirits closing in makes him realize this 24-hour challenge needs to be cut about 20 hours short, and so he finally leaves. This scary doorbell video is from the Chills Narrator subreddit, and it was posted by Tay Harley Quinn. They say their camera has never acted weird before, but for some reason this mysterious shadow figure, transparent and paranormal, is traveling at a high rate of speed behind a truck at random. Some people say this is a person on a bike, while others say it's somebody running, but most agree that this video is paranormal from the looks of it. A small number of people say that this is a glitch, but fail to go into much explanation, even though I would like to hear more. Until then, I think this could be a real ghost sighting caught on home security camera. While camping out at this haunted castle, a rustling is heard in the forest. Published by Exploring with Fighters, this YouTuber is exploring the abandoned ruins of Liverpool Castle. Being hundreds of years old, these castle ruins are bound to be haunted, and they're about to give the explorer a taste of fear. As he tries to sleep, his dog is alerted to a rustling sound outside their tent.
Thought she's doing a goose impressions. She started doing a goose impressions because there's a weird noise coming towards us.
Noting that an owl has kept him up all night, the explorer was wide awake already, and even more so when the mysterious noise seems to be coming toward them.
An owl has kept me awake most of the night.
While the suspense builds, nothing reveals itself, leaving us to wonder what was lurking outside the explorer's tent. Was it man or beast, or something else? An entity known as Zepalintra appears to the YouTube team Que Investiga Cazadores Gilendas on this road of entities, and it happens when they least expect it.
Bom. Mano, ali, ó. É ele, cara, é ele. Né? Apareceu ali, ó. Caramba, velho. Ele apareceu pra gente, mano.
The figure in black stands still as a statue by their vehicle along the road. It raises a hand and then seemingly disappears.
Duas vezes o carro. Ele falou carro. Ó, mano, ele sumiu, velho.
Mano, sumiu do nada, cara.
E ele falou que... Caramba, velho. E ele falou que ela...
While the cut in the video seems suspect, I can't say for sure if this was staged. But if not, he seems to be gesturing at them to follow, and if I were in their shoes, I'd be wary. This video takes place somewhere in the South American country of Chile during the middle of a street race. A number of cars rush past and soon an animal randomly materializes without making so much as a sound. Watch again in slow motion, and it really does appear as though the dog steps out of an invisible portal. You can see its front half emerge first, followed by the torso and back legs. Then again, the blurred edges around the dog's body does look like it could be made through editing. I am not an expert in video editing though by any means, so let me know if you think this is real or CGI and how you could tell the difference. This dirt road has its own security guard. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in February of 2021, a team faces off with a mysterious figure on a deserted road. As they drive in the middle of the night, wolves are howling all around. The atmosphere is unsettling. As they turn a corner and head down a hill, a figure in a black robe is captured up ahead in the headlights. Wearing a hood that blocks their face, the figure starts to slowly walk toward the vehicle, which backs up in response. The figure continues to approach the vehicle even after it's reversed far enough to not be a threat. While many in the comments are saying the figure was likely not a ghost, since it casts a shadow, others are calling the footage scary and dangerous regardless. If not a ghost, who is this person and what do they want? A YouTuber named Spectral Wolfpack Paranormal is checking out an abandoned house in Tennessee that's covered in occult graffiti. It's an unsettling sight for sure. But there's an audio portion of this video that has people talking. No less than 5 people thought they heard something during this part. Let me know if you hear it.
The entrance to hell. The hell.
As soon as he says that this is the entrance to the underworld, some people claim they hear a voice that says stay. I think it sounds like leaves rustling under his shoe as he takes a step back. But let me know if you heard the noise and what you think it was.
The entrance to hell. The entrance to hell.
Ready to hear one of the most bone-crunching sounds in the world? This was captured at the Australian Reptile Park. The bone-crunching noise gives me the chills beyond belief. According to the BBC, saltwater crocodiles take the lives of an estimated 1,000 people per year, many more than sharks do. Would you want to run into one of these monsters? Me neither. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. Now you see it, now you don't. A pale, ghostly figure appears at the end of the darkened hallway. It seems to enter from the left. The dog clearly sees it and runs toward it. Then when the light flips on, the figure just disappears. The dog seems as surprised by this turn of events as we are. Watch it again. The figure is visibly there, there's no mistaking it. So where did it go? Although I'm not sure where the figure disappeared to, I did notice something else in the video. Watch the shadow on the floor after the light flickers on. Something clearly walks past in the other room. Is it the ghostly figure or some other monster?